For a long time, I told myself, man, I'll never understand photography. I'll never understand videography. It's so complicated. This was back in like 2014 where I just picked up my camera and I was like, okay, great. I'm gonna watch YouTube. Well, set your shutter speed to 1/50th of a second. I'm like, what? Hold on, shutter speed, fractions. Oh hell no. Oh hell no. I'm not dealing with fractions. Like fractions? Y'all got fractions in photography? What we splitting now? Like, bro, I left school so I could like not deal with this no more. Y'all talking over 1/150th of a second. A second? What's going on here? So just hearing those terms and your ISO 1/60th, your crop factor 1.5 times, I'm like, yo, I just want to take pictures, bro. Slowly but surely, it became evident that I had a passion for this thing. And I loved it so much where those things that I thought were a chore to learn essentially became so fun to understand. They became fundamental. They became so fun, man. You have no idea. And I love photography. And this podcast episode is going to be about some questions that I have that some people sent in. And I made a request and I didn't really get that much response, to be honest with you. I probably only got like 3 people. So what I'm going to do is answer those questions the best way I could and look up some questions online, not that many, and be done with the episode. All right, first question comes from Toshiba Johnson. Toshiba is actually a great photographer, makeup artist, and she owns a studio out in Miami called the I Create Production Studio. Yes, I Production House. I misspoke there. I Create Production House, and it's in Miami, and they have a massive loft, massive studio space that is open to all creators. They host great events. And I know this sounds like an ad, but trust me, the place is great. You have to see it for yourself. If you're a photographer, model, a creator, you should definitely just hit them up, check their space out, and get inspired to create, because it's really dope. So Toshiba asked, what has been the most challenging thing when doing a podcast? So when recording a podcast, there are like I'm going to answer in 2 ways. I direct and produce podcasts for clients, and the most frustrating thing sometimes is when I'm qualifying a client, because I do 2 consultations. I do one that is about 2 hours and it's $200. And I do a free consultation, it's a free 30-minute conversation where we're on the phone talking, just call for 30 minutes. That's it. I just want to understand what you want. Do you want to start a podcast? And the reason why I started doing the free 30-minute conversations on the phone is because what essentially was happening was people would pay $200, sit down with me in the studio, and their idea of what a podcast isn't what a podcast is. These people will think that it was like not a breakfast club, but like a hot girls club. What's they call that thing? The Real Housewives of Hollywood over Atlanta. They want something like that, and that's not what a podcast is. Or they would want to talk about just mundane things, and they would just assume that getting a round table with all their friends who they think have something interesting to say, that's what they want to start a podcast with. And the thing is, those people are very charismatic and very fun, laughing and joking outside of a podcast, like in group chats and events and parties. But when they get in front of a microphone and a camera and you got the lighting on them, they tend to tense up and not be that specific person that my client said that yo TT's so funny, you gotta meet TT. And I meet TT, and she's hilarious. But when we do a pilot episode, an episode 0, where I'm essentially just getting paid to watch watch a house burn and watch somebody literally get disappointed, they tense up and it doesn't really work. So it's really frustrating because these people don't know what podcasts are. Like they think they know what a podcast is, but they don't. They don't listen to podcasts, which is also frustrating. So one of the qualifying things that I asked them, I said, hey, what podcast do you currently listen to? They don't have a podcast list. They don't listen to podcasts. They listen to the Breakfast Club, which is fine, but it's a radio station. It's not a podcast platform. They listen to Steve Harvey, and then of course they watch a lot of YouTube channels, and a lot of YouTubers, especially comedians, now have YouTube channels, and they have something called a podcast, but it's not really a podcast, but it is at the same time. So the idea of having a podcast is kind of skewed in a way. So the second one is me. So the second irritation or problem I have with podcasting is with myself, where I'm trying to perfect it. It's just a lot of stuff. I just want things to be perfect when they don't really have to be. But that's just me. Like, I want it to be perfect, and I'm like, come on, it doesn't have to be perfect, Gil. You're overreacting. All right. Next question. Next question comes from Ashley. Ashley is an amazing creative. She draws, she dances, she sings, she has an amazing voice. Also, she bakes. Oh my God. So last year for my birthday, Ashley made me my favorite cake of all time, tiramisu. She makes a killing tiramisu. I mean, quite frankly, I have never tasted a tiramisu this good. My wife even says that we haven't had, like, we will go to like restaurants and bakeries and we ask, can we get a tiramisu? And we compare the taste, and it's just like she put her foot in that tiramisu that she made. It just tastes phenomenal. Like, I don't think I would ever have a tiramisu that good anymore. But all in all, let's get off her cake. Whoa. Hey, yo. So Ashley asks, what's the difference between Photoshop and Lightroom, and which do you prefer? I use both in tandem. I use Photoshop and I use Lightroom. And the difference between Photoshop and Lightroom is that Photoshop has so many ways to manipulate the image. Like, you can do a Brazilian butt lift in Photoshop. You can change the colors of the sky. You can add clouds in the sky with Photoshop with one click. You can make somebody sad and happy, change the direction of their eyes, make their face fatter, make their face smaller. It's so much manipulation in Photoshop, but Lightroom is for like more like editorial work and just editing a batch of images all at the same time. So if you're a photographer and you're taking pictures of a lotion bottle, so you're taking pictures with your ashy hands on the trigger, taking multiple pictures, maybe like thousands of pictures of a lotion bottle, and your hands is getting ashier and ashier for each shot that you take. And you can't use the lotion bottle because you can't move it, because if you move it, your shot is now ruined and you got to start over. So you're taking like 2,000 pictures of this lotion while your hand is just desert ash. So let's say you, out of the 2,000 images, maybe 100 is great. And the beautiful thing about Lightroom is that you can rate the images. You can make it a 5-star, like, oh, this image is a 5-star rating, or this image is a 3-star rating. And you tell Lightroom, show me all the 1-star rating images, because you might find a hidden gem. Yeah, and then let's say you select and you break it down to 10 images. Now, out of all the 10, you can start with the first image there, edit that image, and then copy and paste those edits on the rest of the 9 by right-clicking, and edit all 9 images right then and there, and export all 10 right away within seconds. That's the beautiful thing about Lightroom, editing massive amounts of images all at the same time. Photoshop, you can't really do that. Yeah, that's the difference. Which one is better? They both work for me. Like, I use, the way my workflow is, I enter my memory card, create a catalog in Lightroom, and upload all the images onto Lightroom, pick the images that I want to work on, edit it the way I wanted it to go, export it to Photoshop, edit it, manipulate the images how I want it to be how I want it to be manipulated, and then export it to Lightroom and then save it. That's my workflow. It works for me. Next question is from somebody on Instagram. I forgot their name, but they did ask me, what content creators do I look up to? Like there's a lot of content creators that I look up to, mostly for their work ethic, their morality. You have people like D. Darius, who taught me a lot about cinematography, making movies and short films. You have people like, just so many people, Caleb Pike, who kind of paved the way for me when it came to like buying and understanding lighting equipment. It's so many people. You have Jared Spink, who's a great YouTuber and friend who helps me out a lot with the business side of photography, who helps me out a lot with just overall just talking about the content creator space, which is pretty dope to have a YouTuber that you can just text and like, hey man, what do you think of this? You know, he's great. You have Tom Buck, who's a great content creator, who's like really zen to me. He's very Buddha-esque, very chill, focused. He's never in a rush. Like he's always just Tom. No matter what if you're watching him on YouTube, listen to his podcast, watching him on the live stream with his wife, Heather, he's Tom, no matter what. And it's very zen. There's like a peace that comes with watching him. I was listening to a podcast the other day about Bob Ross, and I couldn't help but think, not saying that Tom has like a soothing voice, but watching his YouTube channel, there's a spirit of peace when you're watching his YouTube channel and or listening to his podcast. It's just very peaceful. I can't explain it. But all in all, his YouTube channel is great. You have iJustine, who's killing it. I've always been watching her. She's been killing the game. You have Tech Me Out. She's an amazing YouTuber. She had a really dope video. What was it? I can't remember what it was. But yeah, Tech Me Out. She's great. There's so many other creators out there. Some people like Renee Ritchie, who's been like a legend in the game. Visionary Watts, man, he's some guy that I became aware of a while ago. Actually I think I made a podcast about him. I'm not sure. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. And yeah, he's a great YouTuber. So yeah, there's a lot of people that I look up to. It's new people every single day. Yeah. Next question here. Do I have a script? No, I don't have a script. They're kind of just random thoughts that come out of my head, essentially. But having a script is nice. And the way I would use it is not even reading word for word, but it's just like a bunch of bullet points. Like, talk about peas and how they're green and stuff like that. That's what you put on the notes, and I'll read it and I'll make sure to include that in the next phrasing. But yeah, notes are fine. I saw this earlier, but I don't remember who was it from, but they asked for a budget-friendly camera list. So Canon EOS M50 Mark II, get the body by itself. It's cheaper. It's just going to be $599. Then we have the Godox SL60W. It is a 60 watt light. So the 60 watts is how powerful the light is. And it has a CRI of 95, and that indicates how good the quality of light is. So for example, the sun has a CRI of 100. That's why you're able to like see how rich and powerful and colorful things are during the day and stuff like that. So if you want to get a good video light, not that stupid ring light that you got off Wish and Alibaba, but a nice video light, make sure the CRI is 95. That way, when you take selfies, the picture looks natural. It's not going to be yellow, green, or like some purple magenta tint to it. So the next thing is making sure that we get a really nice lens. So the thing is, this budget camera list is at a budget of $2,000. I'm sorry, $3,000, right? So $3,000, this is all you can get here. which is the EOS M50 Mark II, the body by itself, no lens, Godox SL60W, and the lens of choice is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. So since our EOS M50 is a micro four thirds camera, it will not be a 16mm lens when we put it on. Due to the crop factor of 1.5, you're going to multiply 16mm times 1.5 and you're going to get 24. So instead of it being a 16mm lens, you're going to get a 24mm lens, which is still pretty dope. It's pretty wide. For YouTube, it's pretty wide. I wouldn't do it for vlogging because it'll be pretty tight on your face. But all in all, for like video work for YouTube, that's a nice lens. And at 1.4, you're gonna get that blurry background no matter what. Like it's gonna look, you're gonna look super professional. That's what I suggest you get. Get this lens. So I also suggest getting a 33.5 inch, not an Octabox, but a lantern light. The lantern light gives you that softer look. The Octabox pushes the light towards in one direction, which is fine, but the lantern spreads the light everywhere evenly, so it's evenly through your to your face, and there's no dark spots or shadows. It's really nice. Then I suggest getting an $89. The lantern light is also $89, but I also suggest getting an $89 tripod, a video tripod head, which is going to save you some space and time, so you don't have to like find a spot to put your camera on. Also a dummy battery. A dummy battery is something that you'll connect to your camera so that you can get unlimited power. That way you don't have to worry about charging your battery. As long as you have an outlet, you can plug your camera into it and get unlimited power and record all day. Now, the main thing I would suggest is getting a perfect microphone, and that is the VideoMic NTG. It is a great audio piece of equipment to get amazing audio. You could connect it to your camera, put it on top of your camera to vlog with it. And another beautiful thing is you can connect it to your computer. Now it'll become a USB microphone, so you can podcast, do Skype interviews and stuff like that. So that's pretty dope. And if you have a monitor, like a regular computer monitor, I suggest getting a Mac Mini M1. So this one is at $669. Now you're getting a top of the line Mac Mini. It's going to be at a 256 gig hard drive. You can get an external later on, but this is really good. For a total, the cart total is $2,268.59, and that's pretty good. Oh, I forgot the light stands. So you get like these light stands for $32.62, and you're good to go. You don't even have to take the computer. The computer is just like an add-on. Like, hey, you can add a really good computer to it. So if you want to take the computer off and you have a computer, fine. But I suggest you getting this computer. This computer is future-proof. It'll last forever. For $669, it's faster than whatever computer you have right now, and I promise you that 100% on God, like for real. All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully next time I get a lot more content creator questions. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Well, hope you guys enjoy this podcast episode. I'm not going to do a video portion. It's going to be straight audio this time. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching, listening. Peace.